Plaintiff Rob Klinkenberg started dating the defendant after they met at a truck stop, and soon after, the defendant moved out of state to take care of her elderly mother. A year later, Rob discovered that the defendant was living with a new man, despite the fact that they were still sending each other explicit text messages. Rob's suing for unpaid cell phone bills. Defendant Jonna Holloway says when she met Rob, she was married, and she insists she and Rob were nothing more than friends. Jonna says Rob became obsessed with her and was constantly emailing, texting, and calling her. And she claims he only started asking her to pay for the cell phone bill once she rejected his advances.
Prove your case.
Yeah, me and Jonna, we met back in October, November of 08 at a truck stop, and she worked there. So then I turned around, we started dating, and we swapped phone numbers and started texting and all back and forth. And then we started dating a little bit after that. Then she was telling me she had to go to Oklahoma to take care of her mom.
You know, I never did that.
Never started dating at the truck stop?
No, we didn't start dating at the truck stop, no.
Pick up chicks at the truck stop.
She was working at the truck stop at the time. And then we started dating when he turned around and told me she had to go back to Oklahoma to take care of her mom, which was all fine. And she asked me to see if I'll still wait for her when she gets back on home. She says about a year. See, I'll stick around. And she said, well, I don't like to share my men with other women. It's like the same way with me. I don't like to share my women with other men. And so we continue on going long distance relationship, texting back and forth, dirty text messages back and forth. And then I get a text message from a friend of hers to get a hold of a guy named Larry. So I got a hold of this Larry guy. Supposedly in December, she decided to move from Oklahoma to Alabama with this guy Larry and lived with him since December to March.
So she skipped town with Larry?
Yep.
Your Honor.
Let him finish.
When she was in Oklahoma. I was still in Boise, Idaho. Then I find out about this, and I approached her about it, and then it's just like everything just blew up, basically.
What did she say?
She says, yes, I was dating him out there. And then I called Larry, and Larry turned around and said, yeah, we've been dating since December. We bought her a car, wanted to get together and all that, wanted to get settled down and get married and all that.
Did you tell Larry she's been double?
Yeah, I told Larry that she was dating me also, and they were wondering, Larry was wondering who I was too.
But Larry stuck with her?
Larry stuck with her until she came back to March, back into my place for about 2.5 weeks. And
so Larry covered December to March, and then he dumped and she came back to you?
Yeah.
I'm just trying
she was supposedly, I don't know.
None of this is a fact. I'm just trying to get his side.
I know.
She left you for Larry in December of 09.
As far as I know, we were still together when her and Larry together, because she was still sending me dirty pictures when her and Larry were together.
All right, but you said she left Larry at some point.
In March, as far as I know.
And came running back to you.
Yes.
Who's she with now?
Who are you with now?
None of your business.
No. Simple as that. It's fine with me.
Let me allow her to give her background. Ma'am, he says you all started dating October of 08. You left him for Larry in December of 09. You left Larry in March of 10 and came running back to him. And then April of 10, you left and we don't know where you are now.
But then I find out from her.
Sir, trying to get you some information.
When we met, he knew I was married. I was still married to my husband, and he knew that.
Larry is your husband?
No. Oh. Guy was my husband. Guy was my husband, and he knew that I was still...
Larry, and Guy. I got to get these names.
That's fine.
Robbie, Larry, and Guy.
Is that pen running out of ink? You want to
Go ahead, no. Go ahead, ma'am. I'm sorry.
He knew.
Guy, he knew you were married to Guy.
He knew I was married to Guy, and that things were rocky. He knew that we were going to try to work on our marriage and make things a go of it. He decided that he wanted to keep texting after we exchanged numbers and call and just be totally obsessive. So then my mom called me and told me that she was sick and needed my help. So I went back home with my husband. In the meantime, being married to my husband, we changed my phone number to quit contact with him. He was still sending emails at the time. I quit responding to emails. My husband and I decided to totally end our relationship. So I met Larry at a truck stop. I wasn't even dating Rob. We were not together. Okay. We were friends. And I had told him that many times. I was with my husband. We were trying to make it work. I wanted to be strict friends. That wasn't enough for him.
All right. Now let's get to the cell phone bills you're suing for, sir. How does she owe you for that?
Okay, on the cell phone bills, sometime in the middle there, supposedly her husband or ex-husband now So I had to cut her off on the phone bill or on the cell phone. So she needed a phone, and she asked me to put her on my contract. I said, yeah, I could do that. I really can't afford it. And then she turned around and says, well, once I get a job, I'll help you out. And I said, okay, I'll just charge you $40 a month. That's it.
When did you first get the phone for her?
I got the phone for her in November of 09. And I ended it in August, sometime in the middle of August of 010.
August of 10. How much has she paid?
She's only paid $40.
Ma'am?
That's not true. When he told me that he would get me a cell phone, and I told him that I was not working, I could not afford it. And he said, not a big deal. He would cover it. Yeah. The $40 a month did not start until I told him in June that I didn't want to be in contact with him no more. And he's like, well, you need to keep the phone and keep in contact with your kids. And I said, okay then. And he said, it'll be $40 a month. And I said, that's fine. Let me get a job. Let me get working, and I'll send you money. So the $40 did not start until June of this year. When I called him and told him that I had a new cell phone through a friend, that's when he told me he was going to turn it off.
Sir, you cut it off in August?
August 23rd.
When did you all break up?
Basically right there and then.
And obviously you cut it off not knowing whether you all were going to be friends or not, and risking your credit for someone who is no longer in your life would not be wise. Yeah. At that point. Ma'am, why wouldn't you have to pay if your agreement was, I'll help you when I get a job? Remember you told him that?
No, I did not tell him that I would help him with the bill until June, when I did not want to have any contact with him.
And you told him then you would start paying $40 a month.
He told me that he wanted a payment of $40 a month.
I know, you told him you would.
Yes, I would.
And have you?
No, because
Why?
I wasn't working at that time. I
thought that was why you agreed to pay it, is because you had just gotten a job.
No, I didn't get a job in Burns.
Until when?
Until August 6th of this year.
But you were working in Oklahoma at a truck stop out there, and also in Alabama at a Burger King out there.
The cell phone.
And Larry's a truck driver, so that makes you
quiet. Give me your employment dates since 09. Since January of 09.
September. I started September of 09. I ended there the end of November because I just didn't want to work there no more.
Got you. And now you just don't want to pay him. And and so you say you would have paid had you been working, but you quit because you didn't want to.
And I didn't get the cell phone until November.
I'm going to conclude that you owe him. I'm going to conclude that when you agreed to pay him $40 a month, it was because you believed you owed. I think, as you told him earlier, you will help him out. You told him that before June 10, meaning that you felt an obligation to pay. And I believe you did this under the... You want to interrupt?
Sorry.
When a person is when you win, yeah, get off the field. Because then you give the referee a chance to penalize you for delay of game.
Okay.
$790 is your judgment based on my belief that she intended to pay you all of it, not just beginning in June of 10. Have a good day, folks.
Friends of hers telling me that she was well known there in Burns and going to truck stops and all that and working at truck stops. So to me, the only thing, because since I'm a truck driver, that's the only thing it could be is a lot lizard.
It's funny that he's the only one that calls me that, because I've worked at truck stops all my life and I've never jumped into a truck with nobody.